So today, I'm going to teach you the 3 components to achieving unlimited success in whatever it is that you want to do. I call it the 60-20-20 rule, and it will radically shift the way that you do everything. Come on. So let me ask you a question. Do you want what you want sooner rather than later? I mean, would you rather wait a long time to get your financial happiness and all those things? Or would you rather have it quicker? For most people, it's a resounding yes. And that doesn't mean that you can't take your time and all those things. But if you want to make it happen sooner rather than later, something that I call further, faster, then you're going to love these 3 components. There's only 3 of them. And any shift in one of them is going to make a radical shift in your trajectory and the time that it's going to take you to get there. So what do I mean the 60-20-20 rule? When I hear 20-20, I think about my vision. But here's what I want you to look at it this way. 60% of one thing, 20% of another, and 20% of the other makes up the whole 100%. So let's take a look at the first 60%, psychology. What does that mean? Your psychology. How you think, the constant thoughts that are going on in your head about yourself, about other people, and about the world around you. That is the biggest piece of you. That's what makes you feel the way you feel. It makes you do what you do. And if you leave that to go on autopilot, which it is for most people, then guess what? It tends to make us not get the best out of ourselves. It tends to make us not feel the best out of ourselves. And if we don't, then we're not going to perform that way. So if you shift that one thing, if you, for example, have a great identity about yourself and you feel good about yourself, then guess what? Then you're going to do more. And if you do more, then you have more. I have a little saying that is a great reminder of how we function as human beings in terms of our psychology. It goes like this: as I think, so I feel. And as I feel, so I do. And as I do, so I have. And isn't that the way that it works? Whatever our thoughts are, if you're thinking great thoughts, then guess what? It'll make you feel great. And if you feel great, then you're probably going to perform better. And if you perform better, then you're going to get better results. This is your psychology, and that's why it's 60%, and that's why it is so important. And the second component of the 60-20-20 rule, 60% psychology, is 20% energy. Energy, the energy to be able to do what you need to do. If you've got this great psychology, then guess what? That's going to feed into the energy that you have. But let's get clear on something. Energy is not just that get up and go and going after things. That energy is the literal internal electricity that we build inside of ourselves. The more electricity that you have, the more energy that you have, then guess what? It does several things. Number one, it feeds back into your psychology. It keeps going back around. But the other thing that it does is it radiates out from you as well. And it becomes a cybernetic loop, if you will. The better you feel, then the better you feel. The better you feel, the more energy that you grow. And then when you have more energy, that moves into the third 20% of the 60-20-20 rule, the further, faster rule. So before we hit that last component, the last 20%, I want you to remember something, that energy is generated by your psychology. It's generated by your psychology and the moves that you make. Energy is generated by internally and externally seeing, saying, and moving. What does that mean? Your psychology is what you think, whatever you're imagining inside of your head. You see it in your head. Your psychology is what you're saying to yourself, about other people, about the world around you, anything. Those are your thoughts. And then how you move your body. You probably already figured this out, that more movement generates more electricity and energy. And then finally, the third component, the other 20%, if you will, of the 60-20-20 rule, the further, faster rule, is the one that's, let's just say, the most cosmic. It is the one that a lot of people think about unicorns and rainbows and things like that. But it couldn't be further from the truth. And this is the real deal. It is science. And that's something called magnetism. It's not just the laws of attraction. That's just only one part. As a matter of fact, the laws of attraction are one piece of the 21 immutable laws of magnetism. Now, magnetism doesn't just mean you're attracting stuff to you. It means that you are becoming attracted towards what you want as well, that you have that pull towards what you want, and that has the pull towards you. It's 20%. And when you master those skills, here's what happens. It turns into a loop, because what happens is when you start to believe and have that psychology that you have more energy. And when you have more energy, then guess what? You glow with, wait for it, electromagnetic energy. And that energy emits out from you. Remember earlier I was saying it radiates out from you? Well, guess what? People, situations, circumstances, and even material things, they feel those things and they tend to be magnetized and they come towards you. But here's the greatest part about it. It cuts down on your sabotage, and I know we've all done that as well, because you are more drawn towards what you want. And you have the energy, you have the attitude towards it, and those things become this geometrically glowing and growing ball of energy, intention and activity and action. These pillars, these are the things. Your psychology, 60%, it's the biggest piece. When you spend the time and adjust your psychology, then guess what? It changes the electricity, the energy that's going on inside of you. And then guess what? That energy grows and makes you more magnetic. And the greatest part about it, it makes what you want magnetic as well and draws you towards each other. So here's the question. What happens when we shift all three components? What happens to our life? Well, I'll give you an example in my own life. You may or may not know this, but there was a time in my life when I was homeless and lived in a cardboard box behind an old drive-in theater. Now think about where my psychology was at the time. It was in the toilet. I hated myself. I hated my life around me. I didn't hate other people, but they weren't really high on my list of happiness and attitude towards people. So as a result, I had low energy. All I wanted to do was sleep. I remember just feeling sorry for myself and just laying there and that whole thing had such low energy. And guess what? Nobody wanted to be around me, and I didn't want to be around people as well. And as a result, there was no abundance in my life at all. And you may or may not know this, but somebody helped me out. They gave me the book Think and Grow Rich, and this is where I first started learning about it. Now, obviously, I've grown it from then, but what I started to do was I started to think of myself differently. It was the first time I started to think, well, maybe, all the things that I'm thinking about myself aren't true. Or maybe if I think some things differently, and I started to appreciate myself, and I started to look at all the things in my own life that I had been successful at in the past, and it started to make me feel better. And as I felt better, then guess what? My energy grew, and I felt like getting up and doing things. As a matter of fact, I did. I got up and I went out and I started doing things. And of course, because I was homeless, what do you think I wanted? I wanted a place to live. Well, first I found, a place to live and to rent. But the next thing that I did, because I was so excited, because I had more energy, and because you have more energy, you've got more options. It's called being optimistic. I was more optimistic, and I started looking out, but things started to happen for me. It was sort of like magic, if you will. Things started to show up in my life. As a result, I met a few people. I started doing this. I started working harder. I started doing things. I took a real estate course, and I bought 26 houses from being homeless to owning real estate. And it was crazy. And since then, not only have I used it for myself, but I get to teach so many other people. I want you to get this, that it really is about if you want what you want. And by the way, all this stuff happened in a really short amount of time comparatively. But if you really want to go further faster, if you want to have unlimited success, and let me tell you what I mean by that. There's not anything, at the risk of sounding arrogant, there's not anything on this planet that I feel like if I'm going to go after, that I'm not going to be successful at. I'm going to be super successful at. And I want you to have that attitude, which is your psychology, to have that energy, which is the electricity that goes through you, and have that magnetism, which creates that abundance for you as well. The 60, 20, 20, further, faster formula. So, as you can tell, I'm super passionate about this because not only has it changed my life, but I've also been able to help a lot of people as well. And what I want you to know is there's mechanics behind all of this stuff. And what I mean by that is that when you start to shift those things, our bodies start to do things differently. They release chemicals, they release hormones, something that I call awesome sauce. Matter of fact, that's the title of my book. And I want you to have the book for free. Just take care of the shipping and the handling on that. I want you to have it. Just click on the link below and it'll come right to you. And you're going to learn about how when you shift your psychology, but not just when, but how to shift your psychology so that you can start that loop as well. Click on the link and get it for yourself. So thanks for watching this video, and make sure that you subscribe and ring the bell. And if you want to learn more about the 60-20-20 rule, I did a series of videos on this where I break it down in more detail and show you exactly what to do that. So just click on the video here and you'll start that series. You can get it for yourself as well. And I look forward to seeing you at the top.